Hello, how we doing? Guess I probably should add myself to the stream before I start saying hello. Hello, get a little light. This little light of mine, I need to let it shine. Yes. Hey, everybody. How we doing? How are we doing? It is a good Sunday. I hope everybody had a really good weekend. I hope everybody was able to get a little bit of rest. I put together a post. It's been a little while now when I talked about what do you do on the weekends? Hey, Miss Deborah. Hey, John. And hey, Royal Diadem. What do you do on the weekends after you've been trading? Because trading really can take a lot out of you. It can take a lot out of you. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't post that again this week, but I wanted to let you know that when on the weekends, what you have to do is you have to take at least one day. Hey, Lisa, you got to take at least one day to like woosah and rest your nerves. You got to do something that's maybe let me make sure I'm on the right. It's blinking. Not sure why that is. You got to give yourself a mental health break. First of all, step away from the trading platform. You got to step away from the trading platform and do something maybe non-trade related. There is requirements of study and those kind of things that do need to happen on the weekend. So I'm not saying step away so much that you can't come back and study, because you need to be able to study, strategies. You're studying, stocks and things, but that needs to not be the majority thing. You really have to give yourself a bit of a break from the trading and then come back to it. Hey, Miss Barbara. Hey, Karen. Hey, Janae. Hey, Adrian. How y'all doing? It's for your best, especially if you were trading something during the week that got really stressful. Like, for example, my son and I were trading. Were we doing Google? No, my son and I were doing Netflix on Friday. Lord. Okay. My son and I were doing Netflix on Friday. Initially, Netflix dropped into the zone because we had like 580, 582.5. Netflix dropped down to at least 580 in the morning, like 11:30. It dropped to like 580 or 579 and some change. I talked to my son. I was like, it's time for us to bail. He was like, Ma, I think we need to just ride it out. And I was like, that's what happens when nothing against my son, obviously, but it's what happens when you're new. You have all the courage in the world. So I said, okay, well, we'll ride it out. So we rode it out. Netflix came back up. It went up to like 584, 585. I mean, it held steady. About 2:30, he called. He was like, Ma, we was going to bail, but our trade is still good. I was like, bro, we still got an hour and a half. So it ain't good until 4 o'clock. Okay, we will not count this money till it's done. And we had like, it was a 2.5 spread. So we had 50 or I think it was $55. No, $59. We had $59 that we had collected on our 2.5 spread. So we was in, throughout the day though, because time was passing, our trade got down to be worth like $13, $14. It literally was ready to close. So I was like, Jabari, it's time for us to close these trades. Ma, I think we should just wait. It's going to hold on. So I said, I deferred and said, now, okay, now I'm the coach. He's the newbie. But I was like, okay, well, your mama going to ride with you. We'll see how this goes. So it came. I said, well, power hour's coming. And we got to make it through power hour, basically. Another community I was in was waiting for stuff to start falling during power hour. And I was like, this is not good. So next thing I knew, Netflix started falling a little bit. It fell a little bit more. It was down to like 583.80. It was 583.30. And I was like, this right here. Now, the other thing that you need to know about this is we were playing up in Netflix, in Robinhood. And if you've been trading spreads in Robinhood, you already know that Robinhood will turn your shiggity off at 3:30. At today's media, they will turn off your trade. If it's anywhere near where you think your strike is, Robinhood will shut it down, shut it down. They'll put the shut like on the Color Purple movie. Shoom, shoom. They will close up your Panano quick. And that's what Robinhood did. 3:30. Our trade was actually still good, but I had actually forgotten about that because I don't trade credit spreads in Robinhood a whole lot, but that's where my son is trading. So I was trading there with him. They shut our trade down. So they ended up charging us because it was worth $64 at the time. So where if we had closed it when it was worth 13 or 14, we'd have kept about $40 of profit. They ended up closing it for us at $64 and we ended up with a $5 loss. Now that's still better than, max loss. We still basically, broke even, but it was a good experience for my son too, because I was like, Jabari, my trading plan says that I close trades at 80% profit. And we passed that earlier today. And I really should have just stuck with my trading plan. And he was like, okay, Mom, from now on, we're going to go with the 80%. I was like, yeah, because I know statistically that's the best place to be. And yeah. So yeah, no. Robinhood at 3:30, they'll do a risk management run. Robinhood, especially on a Friday, they running through. That's any day. If you're doing SPY on Robinhood about 3 o'clock, 3:15, they running through and shutting stuff down. If they think it's going to be too close or it's going to breach, they'll close it off according to our risk management, this trade, and they will shut it down. Send you a notification. You'll be catching the vapors. You'll be reading your notification like how your trade is closed. That's how Robinhood will do you. So the moral of the story was to, first of all, follow your trading plan. You need to have a trading plan and you need to follow it if you got a trading plan. And not to be necessarily swayed by others, but it was a good experience for both of us, for him and I. So we ended up breaking even, but we could have kept $40 and we let our $40 go back to the market. And that's another thing. You shouldn't let a green trade turn red while you watching, while you sitting idly by. No. So again, a reminder for all of us. Hey, Marcia. Hey, Franco. How you doing? Hey, Sizzling. John has a question. My goal for this week is to make between 200 and 500. What video should I study to meet that? And I'm on the bus, so response will be slow. Okay, no problem. It depends on what you're trying to trade, John. If you're trading credit spreads, I suggest that you pick several of the credit spreads that we're going to talk about on this list and you decide to run them. I don't know. I think before you mentioned how much money you have as collateral, but let's say, for example, you're using $1,000. That's just an example. I don't know what you're using. But if you're using $1,000, you can look to pull in about 10 to 15% of that for the week if you're going to use the entire 1,000. You can get, you could get 20% depending on what you're going to trade and that kind of thing. So, but look at some of the trades that we have on the list and then select the ones that are going to get you where you're trying to go. As a seller, the more money you put in, the more you're going to be able to pull out from a percentage. But if you get too close in premiums, too close to like the strike prices and it gets, hot in here, then, you get too close to the fire, you just may get burned. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So yeah, welcome y'all. Thanks for hanging out with me, listening to story time and how all that went. Hey, who was on Friday? If you were on Friday morning and you saw how we did Jamie and I did the call together, let me know in the comments how you like that. Let me know what you thought about Friday's morning call with Jamie and I kind of tag teaming. Let me know what you thought. I'd like to hear it. I enjoyed it because one of the things that I don't get when we do this in YouTube is I don't have the conversation back and forth. When we were doing it on Zoom, people were free to open up their mics and we could talk and converse. But on YouTube, it's just me talking to the airwaves. But with Jamie there on Friday, I really enjoyed that. So let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought about Friday morning. I think we're going to probably do it a few more times, especially if it worked out, if it's comfortable. We're going to probably do that some more. Okay, let's look at what happened last week. Now, SPX last 1 week, SPX went on. This was SPX for the week. This is the chart from the daily chart. I probably should put on our weekly chart first so we can see what did SPX do last week. And actually, whoop, y'all see this? This molten gator. SPX went up as high as 5111.06. 5111.06. That was last week's candle. Monstrous. It basically was, for those who follow that convention, a chair. It went into here, it sat here, the chair, and then came. Now, this right here, though, if you're looking at candle patterns, this is kind of what's called harami. I think this is a harami. So you have to really wait for that next candle to do its thing. And once it surpassed here, you really could get in going upwards if you were looking at the week. It kind of give you an indication for that. But this was last week's candle. Lots of green we had last week. So let's go back then to the daily candles. And this is what we had during the day. I want to say this jump from Wednesday to Thursday was the result of NVIDIA having earnings. NVIDIA's earnings, again, we talked about that a few times during the week, how their earnings lifted all the boats and carried a lot of stuff with it. There was people who were posting about the money they made in NVIDIA last week. Listen, we celebrate. The one thing I love, one of the many things I love about the market is that one person winning does not mean you are losing. People can win all at the same time. You don't have to say, if you win and I'm losing. No. You don't have to win at the expense of someone else. And of course, you don't have to lose at the expense. Now, are people losing? Yes, because however the trades go, you losers or not winners. I won't call people losers. Not winners happen too. But yeah. So John, if you're using $2,000, you definitely can pull in 10 to 15% off of that. So you could look at between $200 and $300 in profit. I would look at the list. We're going to go over some stuff, and then you could pick whichever ones you like, ones or multiple ones, or pick one and do multiples of that one. If you're doing credit spreads. Now, if you're doing something besides credit spreads, I'm probably not going to be a whole lot of help because I don't teach buying. But definitely, any video on my channel that talks about the steps to doing credit spreads is going to help you with that. It's too bad you didn't join the small account challenge, because we taught credit spreads in there, and daily and weekly we have meetings to do more learning on that. So that's how that's going. Okay, but this is what SPX did last week. This was our Tuesday because we had a holiday on Monday. So we gapped down actually between Friday and Tuesday. We gapped down. This gap is still hanging here. So we gapped down for Tuesday, and then it went down a little bit. It opened low, and then so it gapped down again and then closed a little higher. That was Wednesday. Then we gapped up for Thursday because NVIDIA had earnings after market. So this is Thursday. And then we gapped up just a little bit between Thursday and Friday. Friday, though, did not give us a whole lot more movement, probably because I was tired, boss. The stocks was tired after running like they did on Thursday. They were tired. Like, we just need a break. So you can see that it did gap up on Friday morning and then came down and closed just a little bit higher than that. So now the question people are asking is, can it go higher? Can it go back up to above 5,100? It actually closed at like 50.88 last week. So can it go back above 5,100? It can. It didn't close above 5,100. So that lets you know, and as you see, I got lines on here that there is resistance there. So it's always hard to go across those lines and stay crossed there. So, again, as I always say, we trade what we see. We trade what we see up in there. All righty. That was last week. Nobody commented about our call on Friday morning with Jamie. No, did we have any inputs? Is there nobody here who was there? Or do you remember what I'm talking about? Friday morning, Jamie and I both led the call together. Friday was a few days ago, I know. Now for me, I'll forget stuff pretty quick. But just as a reminder, we both were doing the call together on Friday morning. Okay, let's look at what's going on this week. What's happening this week. Okay, so what to know this week? With stocks near record highs, almost everybody's at a record high. After an earnings-driven rally, a fresh reading on inflation will bring the Fed's interest rate path back into focus. Okay, back into focus. No, don't even do me. I see people that said, Janae said it was brief, but it was fine. Franco said it was good. Franco said I wasn't on. Karen said it was good. Jamie said he was the weakest link. We're not even going there. I don't think you were on, Lisa, either. I don't think I remembered you being on Friday. Amazon joins the Dow. Earnings. Inflation data, what to watch. Warren Buffett letter, Berkshire earnings. Somebody was talking online about some secret stock or something that Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway is buying a bunch of. Does anybody know anything about that? If you do, put something in the comments. But Berkshire Hathaway is they got like $1 billion in cash that they're getting ready, or billions that they're going to buy something with. And I'm wondering what that is. AT&T is going to credit some of the customers. Now, did y'all see that? Anybody experienced the AT&T outage? I don't have AT&T. I have T-Mobile, I believe. But they said that they're going to give some people a $5 credit. Some people. Everybody whose phone was off ought to get a credit, Mr. AT&T, right? Everybody. Lufthansa says it wants quick pay deal with the unions. Lufthansa is a airline I used to fly when I was living out of the country. Food companies, Toll Brothers is having a good 2024 after NVIDIA's latest blowout. Here, 20 AI stocks. That's the thing. I mentioned this last week. We want to definitely look at, not just what's happening in NVIDIA, because NVIDIA has made such a huge move that it's 3x, 4x, 10x, whatever, it's already popped. Sometimes people want to jump on the train, and after it's already popped, there's less opportunity at this point. I'm not saying NVIDIA is not going up some more, but I'm saying where the big strides it made over several $100s over a month or whatever, is it going to do that again at this point? Probably, but probably not. So it might be worth it to look at some other things that do have the potential to make that kind of a stride, right? There's other things, I had forgotten all about AVGO. I mentioned last week, I mentioned some others like SOXL and Intel and AMD. I mentioned several other things, but I have forgotten all about AVGO, but they've been on the move too. Janae says Walmart's are going to split tomorrow. 5 for how many hours? What does that mean? I don't know. 5 for how many hours? So Walmart splitting tomorrow. That's interesting. So here we go. This Warren Buffett shrewdest big bet since making billions on Apple. Buffett probably isn't done buying this stock hand over fist. So it'd be interesting. Maybe somebody wants to jump in here and see what the rest of this article says. Massive news on SMCI. That was another one that went nuts last week. SMCI, but then it pulled back last week after a little bit of time. So smartphone giants like Samsung are going to talk up AI phones this year. Here's what that means. China Xiaomi, I used to have a Xiaomi, launches high-end phone in Samsung Challenge and debuts EV in Europe. Xiaomi is a big deal over there. A hot pink Barbie flip phone is launching this summer. Yeah, no, I'm sure people will have it, but a letter to employees. This is where AT&T apologized, but then said some customers will receive credits. Some customers. BP exec's husband guilty of insider trading. He snooped on her calls. SpaghettiOs. Yeah. Consumers are tired of inflation, but some retailers fear falling prices. So on. Huawei spinoff Honor shows off tech to control a car with your eyes, and chatbot based in Meta's AI. Jamie says Broadcom also hit a high. Yep. Jamie, I would advise charting triple Q before trading in the tech sector. Not just triple Q. I would suggest you chart whatever it is you're thinking you want to trade in the AI or the tech space. I would suggest you chart that mug good. Start with the weekly, go down to the daily, check some stuff. Don't just do those. That tech sector right now is hot. The block is hot. So you want to make sure that if you're going to put in your trades that you've done some due diligence, as they say. You want to make sure you've done some due diligence. Let's talk about what earnings we got this week. We got a bunch of earnings. Season is still going on. Nvidia's earnings last week was a big boy, but we've got some earnings and stuff that are coming for this week. Monday, tomorrow morning before the open, we've got Lee, which basically is a Chinese stock. We've got Domino's Pizza. We got Crystal, Alpha, FIS, Itron, Fresh Pet, Elanco, BioCrist. A lot of these I don't even know who they are. But Monday aftermarket, we've got Unity. Had been talked about. It was being talked about over and over for a long time. The next thing we know, it was kind of gone. I think U might be an ETF. Does anybody else know if U is an ETF? I feel like it was an ETF. Zoom is doing earnings Monday after close. Workday, Hims and Hers, Robot, OneOK, Car Gurus, Heiko, SBA, Transmedics. That's all Monday. Tuesday, we've got Norwegian Cruise Line, Lowe's, AutoZone, American Electric Power, AEP, Lending Tree, Shift4, Cracker Barrel, Macy's, Scotiabank, and BMO, which I believe is also a bank. After close on Tuesday, we've got Devon, First Solar. First Solar was mentioned, FSLR. I think they had dropped way off, but Kava is there. Beyond Meat. That's one that Beyond Meat, we had all kinds of promise. And I think they're a $6 stock at this point, might be more. I haven't looked at it in a long time. There's another influencer who was all over Beyond Meat and took a lot of folks down the rabbit hole with him. And it hasn't quite recovered yet. I think they're Impossible Burger. Was it the Impossible Burger? Is that Beyond Meat? It didn't do as well as they thought it was going to do as far as catching on in the fast food market. They were kind of hanging their hats on that, and it didn't really do what it was going to do. Lemonade, Array, Galactic, Exxon, and Qpeng. That's all Tuesday. Wednesday morning, we got Baidu. Baidu is like the Amazon over in China. Novavax, Advanced Auto Parts, TJ Maxx is there. Viatris, ACM, TG Therapeutics, Fulgent, and Golden Ocean. Wednesday after market close, Marathon, that Mara. We're talking about the crypto space. Mara needs to pop. People looking forward to that one. Jamie put for those of you who are in the Telegrams, Jamie put a really good article about Mara versus Riot into our Telegram groups for you to read for your viewing pleasure. And it basically talked about which one of the two was in a better position. And, my reading, I think I gathered that Riot is in a little better position, but I think you should read the article and see why. Mara is Wednesday after close, Snowflake, Salesforce, AMC, C3 AI, which was another one that was popping real hard. And now it's kind of not been mentioned much. Paramount, Okta, Weight Watchers. It looks like Weight Watchers might have changed their emblem. And HP is all on Wednesday after close. Thursday is Celsius. Anybody drink those Celsius drinks? They kind of popped up everywhere all of a sudden. Canadian Natural, Amelco, Best Buy, Kronos, Polestar, Birkenstock, AB and Bev, Bath and Body Works. Oh, I was thinking of Bath and Beyond because they closed. Bath and Body Works is still around though. And Six Flags, that's who I thought had closed, was Six Flags, but they still got stock. Maybe they bought some other theme parks or whatever. Thursday after market, Zscaler, SoundHound, Fisker, Dell, Ginkgo Bioworks, Autodesk, Viva, Green Brick, NetApp, and Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So HP is reporting on Wednesday after market, and Hewlett Packard Enterprise is reporting Thursday after market. On Friday, we got Plug. Boy, Plug was getting talked about hot and heavy back when they were fighting for their position as a charger. We ain't heard nothing about ChargePoint in a while either. Those two were kind of on the forefront of the conversation. But once Tesla decided they were going to create charging ports for they were going to be universal charging ports, we basically stopped hearing about Plug and ChargePoint, because ChargePoint kind of had a little more market share because they were hitting the other cars that Tesla wasn't. Then Tesla was like, oh, we're not trying to lose the market share to them, so let's make our charging stations universal too. Fubo is here, Tidewater, Rapid Micro, RadNet, Intest Corporation, Atlantica, Property Gurus, Bio, The Six, and Aegon. One of those. All of that. That's what we got for earnings this week. We got lots of stuff coming up for earnings. A few of the heavy hitters, per se, if you want to call them heavier hitters. We got a few things that nothing's probably going to move the market like NVIDIA did, but we do have some things. Mara's probably one to look forward to. I'm not sure about C3AI. AutoZone is still got a pretty big price on it. Advanced Auto Parts, those. So again, we always check and do a run when I provide suggestions for the trades I put in. I don't. I really try to stay away from the ones that have earnings, because earnings is such a volatile event that volatility and credit spreads generally don't go together. Right? Generally don't go together. So last week, I went back and looked at the trades that I suggested last week, and look at here. We had 19 out of 21 profitable trades off of the suggested list last week. That was a 90% success rate. Clap it up, clap it up, whoop, 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 clap it up, yes. 19 out of 21 profitable. So if you pick something off this list and threw a dart, you would have hit one or two or today's, and you would have made some monies. Right? Now, when you're doing these credit spreads, you can take, again, 1,000, a couple thousand, whatever amount of money you want to use, to be honest, and you can pick different ones that you want to do. Or you can lean in on just one or two and do multiple contracts, right? If you don't want to watch 4 and 5 and 6 stocks, pick one or two, maybe 3 at the most, and do multiple contracts to take it up to the amount of money that you want to spend. Or if you say, I really only want to watch Amazon, then I just picked Amazon off the list. I'm not suggesting anybody go pick Amazon. I'm just saying that if you decide I only want to do one thing, like I only want to trade Apple, I want to trade Amazon, go pick that one and put all your money in one place. That way you only got one stock to watch. Okay. Now, that's not necessarily diversifying, but if this is a portion of you growing it, however you do, whatever your monetary goal is, I'm just giving you that suggestion on how do you make that do what it do, right? How do you make that do what it do? But listen, all of these worked out great. Amazon's call credit spread didn't do great because NVIDIA drug it up with everything else. Microsoft's call credit spread. Microsoft's call credit spread actually turned out to be profitable. The one that wasn't profitable was XLB. Jamie, what is XLB? That's the one that, and it was only partially breached. This particular one stopped at the price stopped at or closed at like 86.7. So it wasn't like a total loss. This was 86.7. So it wasn't fully breached. Now, Amazon, on the other hand, done, son. I think Amazon closed in the 180s or 179. It went through that completely. But everything else was good. Thank y'all so much for the clap it up. We clapped it up. Yes, this was last week's success rates. Yes. And there's plenty to choose from. We got some 50-cent spreads on here. If you want to just do $50, if you want to do some one spreads, we got some one spreads on here. Starbucks, Exxon, XLI, Google is a one spread. XLB is materials. Thank you. And then we had some 2.5s. Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft, Apple. Those were all the 2.5. So if depending on what your bailiwick is, if you wanted to stick small but just $50 trades, that we can go with that. We could go with that. Last week I traded TQQQ, Exxon. I did an XL. I did INTC a couple times, and I didn't want to say I did an XLE. I did 4 or 5 different trades last week, and made a few dollars last week, right? We were in profit last week, as well as much of the community was in profit. It wasn't just me, because I would be, people hang out, you with somebody and they posting up how they made $10,000 and $15,000 and you at a loss all week. You're like, wait, how you making all the monties? And I'm not. No. My thing is I want us all to make profits together. I want us all to make profits together. So I want to make sure that along the way, if you've got difficulties or not understanding, if you are, picking the wrong sides or whatever's happening, we want to discuss that. Okay. These were the results for our small account challenge. Our small account challenge is still going on. We finished week 3 last week. We're going to wrap it up at the end of this week. We got one more week. We're finishing strong. But we've made, as a unit, over $1,000. Now, this is with the people who've reported. We have a spreadsheet that we keep track of. And not everybody puts their stuff on the spreadsheet. Positive or negative, not everybody does it. So all I can share with you is what's on the spreadsheet. But in our spreadsheet, we made over $1,000 so far this month in credit spreads. And then the people who are in the credit spreads challenge, many of them, or dare I say most people in the credit spreads challenge, are new. They trading credit spreads for the first time or hadn't traded them very often, had traded other things, and they're leaning in to trading credit spreads for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Some people, had more experience, and I believe I helped them to navigate and to decide on what stocks we're going to do, and then how do you pick your strikes and that kind of thing. So I helped them really to fine tune their experience. But yeah, we're over $1,000 so far. We're going to close out the month this week, and hopefully we'll double up every week. You see, we this week we did a little bit more first week, dropped a little bit second week. We jumped up to $400 last week for a total of $1,022. That's what we've done so far. Yeah, we can clap that up too. Credit spread challenge, I would consider is going on to be a success. Right? I show the people who are involved in it feel the same way, that they're learning things along the way, and they're hopefully ready to launch at the end of this session. This is our list for this week. It's a kind of long one. It only has put credit spreads. Y'all see that? It only has put credit spreads. So this week I pulled the list from Peakbot. I pulled it from Peakbot because Peakbot, y'all know Peakbot is my automated trader, right? It's letting the bot trade for you. The bot enters the trade. It does not do anything else besides enter the trades. It selects the strikes and enters the trades. So I took these strikes from Peakbot because I kind of wanted us to go through some of these today. We can go through some of these to see, do we think these are good strike prices? I'm just sharing with you the strike prices that were on the website. And I've looked at a bunch of them. But I want us to look and see, do we think these are good strike prices? What are your thoughts as far as the strike prices go? And how do we do that? We're going to go through a bunch of these. You hang out. We're going to work on finding us some. We don't have any football to worry about moving away. We're closing our call for football. Are we going to do the Peakbot challenge we did on Wednesday? Yes, we're going to do something very much like that, Janae. Did y'all see what Wednesday did? How all but 2 of those ones we did on Wednesday were those strikes would have been good. So yeah, we're gonna do something we did on Wednesday. We're gonna look at these and see, are these good strikes? So on the left hand side, we've got the lower risk area. We got the lower risk stock. We want to say lower risk trades. Maybe this trade is not as volatile. These trades, or maybe these stocks, are not as volatile. And then we've got some moderate risk. I did not put any of the ones that are high risk. They on the Peakbot. If you go to usepeakbot.com, you can look at, they do have a list of the ones that have a higher risk. And generally, when you get higher risk, they have higher premiums. So if you want to trade higher risk, higher premiums, they got some over there. But higher risk also means higher volatility, which means that the potential for the price swings is a little bit greater. And there's no reason for that, because look, this is 25 stocks we can look at. We don't have to go for high risk. If we got all these to choose from, why Joe jump into something that's high risk? We don't have to, right? We've got plenty to choose from. All righty. So I've covered earnings. I've covered last week. I've talked about our successes from last week. I talked about the small account challenge. And now let's talk about what we see in some trades. Okay, what do we see on some trades? See if we can go to another screen and get us some on this. We'll get ourselves on a chart. Okay, I want to bring. Let me see if I can bring the graphic over also so we can see whether or not. Let me see. Well, so if we can see whether or not, so we can kind of see the strikes and stuff. Now, just because we're doing this together doesn't mean you can't look, on your own, because we won't do all of these. We're going to do a lot of them, but we won't do all of them. But I want to show you how are we doing this. Okay. I want to make sure it's big enough for everybody to be able to see. I'm on the big screen. So when I'm on the big screen, it does kind of shrink things down a little bit for your computer. I'll do the best I can to make it as big as possible. Okay. Let's start. PFE is what? Pfizer? I believe that's Pfizer. Okay. We're looking at a call credit spread. Do we think, I really need to make this a little bit smaller, that way that won't disappear every time I do that. Okay, let me move this here and let me get us situated. Okay, if I do this situated and you can't really see candles and stuff real good, then just say something and we'll make an adjustment. I want to minimize the pain. Yep. And minimize the pain here too. Okay. If it needs to be bigger, y'all let me know. Okay, we're looking at Pfizer first. Call credit spread at the 27 strike. I will put a line on it at the strike that is on the graphic. There is the 27. 27 strike. I'm looking for yeses and nos in the comments. Do you think this is a good strike for a call credit spread on Pfizer? Looking for something to write with and write on. Why don't I have anything on this whole desk to write on? That don't even make sense. Put credit spread. Miss Deborah says yes. Got too much stuff on my desk. That's really what's going on here. Okay, put credit spread at the $27 range. We're doing a put credit spread. Yes, ma'am. We're doing a PCS. We're checking to see, do we think this is a good place for a put credit spread? I'd actually go with a yes. I say a yes. Looking at the daily chart. Now, I know there's a whole lot of other stuff that you can look at to determine whether or not it's a good place to be. But I say based on where this is a very strong poop, it hit this and moved on back up. It's a pretty good little ways up. Wait, now I don't know. This is the current price is $27.76. So this looks like it's a great place. It really does. But we're really only about $1. We're about $1, less than $1 away from current price. If we pick 27, let me see. Let me see if I can turn on. We might want to see what our probability out of the money is for that particular strike price. I'll get Thinkorswim open here in a minute. Okay, moving on to the next one. NEM. NEM is Noble Corporation. No, Newmont Corporation, not Noble. That was a different one that popped up. And we're looking at the 30 strike price. Looking at the 30 strike price. We need to go back a little further to see if to see where support is, because at this point you can't really tell where support is. The trend on Newmont has not been good. The trend has not been their friend in this case. The trend has not been their friend. They did hit this support, looks like around 30.94, and bounced off of that for the next day. What are your thoughts on Newmont? I'm opening Thinkorswim so we can see our so we can see what the thing is. I can still, let me see if I can go back further and pull up us a support. It's been a minute. Newmont hadn't been down here in a while. Y'all see, I don't see any support back here. Well, anybody know anything about Newmont? I've never heard of them. I know this is getting super small, but I'm really just looking for some price action. Oh, there we go. Some price action back here. This is 2019. They hadn't been back here since 2019. And there's some stuff over in here, but ooh, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since they were back in this vicinity. I don't rightly know about them. Let's Thinkorswim's taking a long time to start because let me do it on my phone. That way it'll go quicker, and it won't slow my computer down if I do that. NEM, Newmont, never heard of them. Anybody ever heard of them? I can't say I have. The 30, the 30 strike on Newmont is 84.5. 84.5 is the make sure I got the right week. Yep. It's got almost an 85% probability out of the money. Based on that information. Janae, based on that 85, I would say 84.5 probability out of the money. For me, I usually go with 75 or above. 75 or above. I'm gonna go with a yes on Newmont because of between the strike and the now I'm not too fond of the fact that they've been coming down a minute. That right there is really what's disconcerting. Yeah. Bank of America, BAC 33 is our strike. Put a 33 on here. Is BAC 33 good? BAC 33. Do we think that'll be good? I'm not too bothered by the support area. I think that's pretty good. 33 has a probability out of the money of 78.69. It's above 75. That's Bank of America. Seems like it wants to be above this support area because this is support up in here, 33 and some change. 33.15's got a gap here that it hasn't come back to fill at this point. It's got that. Inputs, what's our thoughts on Bank of America at 33? This is how we get a little more confidence in selecting the stocks, by checking to see if they've got a place where if the suggested stock or suggested strike, it's not what I wanted to do. If the suggested strike is doable. If we got confidence in that. Okay, Karen gave us a yes. I think I'm a yes on BAC as well. I think I'm a yes. Let's go with BP. I'm going to keep us moving through here. BP 34.5. 34.5. Where are you? There it is. 34.5 is here. Let's see what's on our chart. Now, I know we do a lot more stuff for charting, not minimizing that. Looking to see at a glance, because we got a lot on we want to go through. If at a glance, would you be comfortable at 34.5 as a strike? I see 34.8 is support up here. 34.8 is support. Right? A good support. Ping, it went on up from there. 34.5. Let me see. What's our strike on BP? I mean, what is our probability out of the money? On the 34.5 strike, probability out of the money is 82%. BP, 34.5 strike has, what did we say, 82% probability OTM. I think I'm a yes on BP as well. I think I'm a yes. What about y'all? What are your thoughts? JAJ Contract Furniture says yes on BP. Current price is at $35.38. So we're about a dollar away. Sometimes that can be the nerve-wracking piece, because you can feel like we too close to the price to select that. But if you're going in the right direction. Okay, next one is Verizon. Verizon at a 40 strike. Oh, shucks. Verizon at a 40 strike. Now that kind of puts us a little more in the fray. Verizon at 40. Let's see what our probability out of the money is on that strike. Now, mind you, the market is closed. So the current price of Verizon, though, is 40.66. Are these the 30 deltas? Yes, ma'am. These are the 30 deltas. VZ 40 strike has 73% probability out the money. So now this was a little closer. I agree. This was a little closer than I would be. I do see that it is, inside right at the support area. And when it hit this support, it did go on up. These candles over here, this long wick on this candle here lets us know that there was sell pressure on this candle here. There was sell pressure, but it didn't hold. But these are two like little dojis. Right? Indecision is still happening here. So you could say, let me see if I could change it to a line. Nope, that ain't what I wanted. Change it to a line and see if we see some breasting in here. Oh, there's some support right here. There's some support at the $40.51. There's also support at $40.14. So So you do have two supports here before you get to the line we're talking about, which is the $40. We've got support at 40.14 and support at 40.51. It's close. Royal Diadem says no. Says no. It depends. Let's see. If we were doing the strike price is 38.540. Let's see if we put in that trade right now. Of course, the market is closed. 38.540. What would we pull up out of that trade? Because sometimes that to me will help me decide not to do it because the premiums aren't there. Okay, 38.540 on Verizon is $150 of collateral, right? Between 38.5 is 40 is 1.5 collateral, but it's paying right now $12. That's a little bit less. That trade, of course, the market is closed, but that trade is paying $12. What it shows up $12. That to me wouldn't be. I want it to be at least, if I'm going to be in this kind of proximity, I'm going to want it to pay a little bit better. And I didn't say this yet, but this is not investment advice. I cannot tell you what to do with your money or anything like that. We're just talking about what we see on some trades and what could possibly be of interest, right? I won't say that Verizon won't do the 40 strike. It's not a trade I would necessarily take. I probably would want to go with 39.5. I'd want to go with something below this strike down here. If I was trading up with my monties, where's the thing I can draw with? Yeah, if I was trading with my money, I would want to do something under here. This support here at 38.8, 38.7, or 39.7, sorry, I probably would do 39.5. Not saying that Verizon won't do, but I would like one little bit more security there if I was looking at Verizon. Karen says it's close. Let's look at Costco. Cisco. This is probably Cisco, not Costco, because Costco is cost. This Cisco. Cisco, current price $48.86. $48.86. And the strike price we're looking at is 48. Let's see. 48 for the strike is right here. 48 for that is right there. Now, you know, I don't hate that one. It hit this good support and went on about its way. We've got 46.5, 48. Let's see what the probability out of the money is on here on Cisco at this 48 strike. $48 strike is an 81% probability out of the money. What did I say? 81% probability out the money. I think I'd be okay with Cisco, considering how it did how it hit the strike, but it is potentially coming into a gap. There's a seller's gap right here that it has come into and wasn't able to stay, wasn't able to really close it up, but it did go in there and start to hit a little bit of it. So I don't know about that one, but I'm a yes on Cisco. I'm a yes on Cisco. Okay, moving forward. WFC, I believe that's Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo company. The banks just moving on in the midst of this inflationary period. 52 is the strike we're looking at. 52 puts us in chill. Well, there definitely was a pause here, up, over. So if we're, those who look at chairs and nuts, that's definitely what happened there. If we look at our line, see how it went up to here, hit, dropped back a little bit, took a little break, and then went on up some more. That's definitely what's going on with that. $52. Let's see what our strike, what our probability out of the money at 52 is. This is what do we say? Wells Fargo. I'm looking at how the bank had that big old jump. As far as 52 has an 85% probability out of the money. What's this? 52 strike. 85% probability OTM. JAJ says yes. I say yes. That says yes. Okay. What's next? C. I think this is a bank also. Citigroup. There we go. I figured C was a group. Citigroup, we're looking at the 54 strike. That's the 54 strike right there. In the middle of it. In the middle of it. That's a 50 right at this gap. 54 at the bottom. Now I do know that the bottom of buyer's gaps is support. The bottom of buyer's gaps is support. Let's see what we got as far as the strike price and the probability out of the money. 54 has an 87% probability out of the money. Where are you? My mouse is moving. There we go. C at the 54 strike. Actually, it's actually an 88% probability out of the money. Now, the probability out of the money does shift around when the market opens, because price action is what helps to determine that. We're looking at what is it showing on here. Now, what do we do in the morning when you get ready to trade these? If you're going to pick something you like, or you got a stock or whatever you like, you give it till about 10:30, at least 10, probably 10:30, at least 10:30 on a Monday morning to let all those over the weekend orders come in. The strikes we're picking are the 30 delta. So you're going to look at the 30 delta strike that is on these trades, whichever one you like, and then see if that price or that strike price is comfortable for you. We're talking about the 30 delta on these, on the strike, 30 delta on the sell leg, 10 delta on the buy leg, to see if you want to widen the spread that much. Or you can just do the 30 delta and the next one underneath it and keep it a 50 cent or a 1 spread. That's really up to you, right? But that's what we're looking at. That's where these strikes came from. They're the 30 delta on the put side. The 30 delta on the put side. I got a yes for Citigroup as well. Okay, let's go to Dow. Go into the Dow. 55 strike price. 55 strike price. Oh, Lord Jesus, we in the fray. In the fray. Let's see what we got if we look at the line chart. Yep, still puts us here. We've got support. Actually, there's some support right in here at the 55 and some change area. Some support right in there. Let's see what our probability out of the money is. What are we looking at, Dow? And we're looking at the 55 strike. This is a 1 spread. 75% probability out of the money. Dow 55 strike has 75% probability OTM. $55. I think I would like this better. I think I would like this 54.5 better. Or there's no 0.5. So it's either 55 or 54. But the 54 strike is at 88%. I would be a little more comfortable getting underneath this than underneath in the middle here. Do I think the trade is could still be good? 1.5 away from current price. Yeah, I actually think this could still be good. JAJ says no on Dow. They have a 70-cent dividend this week. Oh, Dow is going to pay out a dividend this week. So if that's the case, they're probably going to drop after they pay out their dividend. Some people buy these stocks and they hold them for dividend. They just have them. They get the dividend. Some people jump off the train. They go, oh, they got their dividend. I got my dividend money, and they bounce. They hold it just long enough to get the money. So you do see that on dividend days, their prices do fall back, right? I do see the D over here. That's this week. Dividend on Wednesday. I want to look back. Let's see what a previous dividend day has done. How often do they pay dividends? There's one. This was a dividend day here, and they ran up for 3 more days. Let's see if we find another one. Dividend day here, and they moved up some more. All right, Dow might be one that holds on after people get their little dividend check. Dividend here, but they fell a couple days after the dividend day. That's something to look at. Very good point. Thank you for that, JAJ, because that's important to know. Or what do people collect their monies? And then it said the dividend will be paid on 3/8. So what's this D here then? 2/28. Maybe that's the ex-dividend day that you got to have the stock by then. Oh, yeah, the X date is this one. Okay, so the X date is Wednesday, which means you got to have if you got stocks, you got to hold them, and then you don't get the money till next month. So actually, that may be a plus if people will buy it by that day in order to have it for the 8th. They pay quarterly. So if that's the ex-dividend date, I would see that as a bullish thing. That's bullish, which may be why every time we've seen that D, the prices go up for a couple of days because people buy the stock in order to hold it through the dividend payout day, right? All righty, I put a yes on Dow. I'm a yes on Dow. Oxy, we got 58 as our strike price. Let me move this to 58. We'll turn it red so we can see that's what we're looking at. That's a pretty good little distance away from. Now, Oxy feels to me like it used to have a bunch more volatility. Oxy's in the petroleum space. What's this? 58 is the strike. 58 is an 89% probability out of the money. Plus minus 1.4. Current price is 60. Yeah, I think that one would be fine. I've tried to make this bigger so I'll make this thicker so that way we can always see. Y'all can see what line I'm talking about. Okay, MS. Morgan Stanley, another one of the banks. Morgan Stanley at the 84 strike price. Morgan Stanley at 84. 84 is right here. This red one here is 84. Right at this support. And there's another support up here. Yep, let me take this off of dotted because I think this is fine to be a regular line. Okay, there's a support at 85, and we're talking about using the 84 as our strike price. I think I'm okay with Morgan Stanley at 84. It's got an 84% probability out of the money too. Now let's look at Wynn. Wynn Resorts, I believe this one is. Yes, on Morgan Stanley. Wynn is at 101. 101 is our strike price. Let's go with 4 and red. Why are you doing that? There we go. It's right at the bottom of this gap that is partially being filled at this point. The gap is being filled. Let's come in here, come out. This is a buyer's gap. So there's buyers hiding in here. Our strike is 101. Let me move us up just a little bit. I'm a little far off. There we go. 101. That's the same place as the intermediate line of the Bollinger Band, which will also work as support. This 20-period moving average will also operate as support. Let's see if we got Wynn. Oh, come on. Now, how can we use these? We can hop in on a put credit spread the first few days of the week, and then you get to Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, you might decide you want to, if the other side hadn't done a whole lot of movement, you may go ahead and enter the call credit spread side and pull in some more premiums on collateral you already have that you've already leveraged. Collateral that you've already leveraged. 101 is a 79% probability out of the money. We're at 104 and some change right now, and the plus minus number is 3. That puts us at 101. I'm a yes on Wynn. Anybody else? Seems like we're a yes on everything, except for that. There was one that we were. Verizon was kind of an iffy. I'm a yes on Wynn. I don't know anything about the Wynn Resorts. Is this is not Wyndham, or is it? Is this Wyndham Resorts? Even though Wyndham usually doesn't have 2 N's in it, but is this the same people? Is the same people? Okay, let's get into something that's a little wider on the spread. Exxon. Exxon is the 101, is also the strike there. No, it's Wynn in Vegas. Aye. Okay. 101 is here. Is Wynn a you said it's a resorts. There we go. There's our strike price. 101 is the strike price for Exxon. Now, Friday, they had a little bit of this. See this little sword looking thing here? That was Friday. But the oil has been just moving on up. Probably because of war and stuff like that. The oil is still being utilized. Got a little bit of a gap we need to fill now. There's a seller's gap here between Thursday and Friday that is going to need to be addressed. But we also have resistance right here. This is resistance at 104, 104.83. Want to keep that in mind. When it hit up here, it dropped back a little bit. There's a lot of seller's pressure. It didn't fall below that, but will it go down to as low as 101? Let's see what 101 is for probability out of the money. 101 is 84% probability out of the money. I think I'm a yes on Exxon. They got 2.3 as they're up one. Yeah, 101 is more than 2.3 below. Last on this low risk or the lower risk list is Google. GOOG. I usually trade GOOGL, but this is just GOOG. They're a little bit different, which I think is weird. I really think that's weird. Like, why aren't they the exact same price? But they're not, and they don't move at exactly the same price either. Okay, so we've got Goog at 142 is our 142 is what the strike is there. Mm-hmm. 142. Let's see if we've got probability out of the money. Okay, I'm going to ask a question. Do we want to keep going to the next list? Do we want to keep going, or have we seen enough? Deborah says yes for me on XOM. We're looking at 142. 142 has a 79% probability out of the money. JAJ says yes. Okay. 142 for Google. I don't know if you're saying yes for Google or yes for us continuing to go, but I would go with, or yes for XOM. Yes for XOM, yes for Google, yes for keep going. Yes, all the things, yes. 142 on Google. Plus or minus 3 is the number, and we're at 145. Yeah, I'm still good with the 142. I do see this support here is at 140, like 141. I think I would be more comfortable at this strike right here. But this bottom of the gap is going to provide some support, right? As well as this line over here. Actually, 142 probably is some support from back over here. Both all. Okay, so I would go with, I'm with the yes on Google also. Okay, so what does that mean though? That means for all of this whole list that we've looked at, we are a go on almost all of these, except for the only one we kind of paused a little bit was Verizon. We thought Verizon might be better at 39.5, but this gives you what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 stocks that you could potentially place a trade on. Is there a crude oil ETF that's liquid? That's a good question. A crude oil ETF. I don't know. Do a quick Google search on like crude oil ETFs and see what we come up with. I don't have any X's on. Usually we look at XLs, all the different XLs. There's none on this list this week. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't look at them if you, XLE is energy. That's not really oil though, is it? Exxon, of course, is Oxy and Exxon are both in the oil space. BP is in the oil space. Yeah, take a check and let us know, BizPhone. All right, let's move to the moderate risk. Let's move to all of our low risk. So we got 13 trades you could pick from if you want to go with low risk. And remember, you're looking to pull in at least 10% of your premiums, and you want to enter Monday after 10:30, and you're using the 30 delta. You're using the 30 delta. Okay, let's go to Cleveland Cliffs. Now, I've seen that Cliffs don't really pay a lot in premiums. But that ain't our question. Our question today is, do we think this would be a profitable trade at 19.5? 19.5 is in here where this red is. 19.5. Would this be profitable? Well, it's got a plus minus 0.7. 19.5 is a 78% probability out of the money. I'd still go with the yes. It's and it's right here at the support that it hit, boom, and went on back up. Okay, maybe somebody else can take a look at it to see what are there any crude oil ETFs? Because BizPhone said they're driving, but check and see. Somebody else who's on maybe can check and see what are there any crude oil ETFs. Love is 32.5 is our strike. 32.5. Mm-hmm. Somebody's child was kidnapped in Palm Beach County. I always hate when they have those come on because people be, where your kids? It's a scary moment, I'm sure, to not know where your kids are. I always say a quick prayer, Lord, send them their children back. What they don't do on the Amber Alert thing, though, is they really ought to come back and say, child found. If you're gonna disturb our phones with the Amber Alert, please come back on here with a message update, letting us know the child is safe, letting us know that the child is okay. Okay, so Love is Southwest Airlines, and we're looking at 32.5 as the strike. Now, what Love has done is turn back around from its resistance. It has a resistance up here at 34.70, and it has fallen down, but it's got some more support here at, it's got support at 30, what's that, 33.7? It's got some support at 33.7. It came right down to that, boom. 32.5 on the Love is 81% probability out of the money. Yes on Cliffs. I was a yes on Cliffs too. Love 32.5. We got a plus minus 1.2 and the current price is 33. 1.2 puts us at 32.5, which is right at the place. Wow. Puts us right there. I'm going to go with a yes on Love. I don't know if I've ever really traded Southwest Airlines. Don't know if I've traded them. Okay, let's keep pushing. General Motors. General Motors, 38.5 is the strike. 38.5 is right here. Mm-hmm. 38.5 on GM. Is General Motors, are they doing okay in the space because are they following behind the electric vehicle stuff? Shouldn't we be doing a little more in the electric vehicle space? 39.5, I said. No, 38.5. Yeah, 38.5 is a 79% probability out of the money. 38.5. And the support, a good support really is down here at 38.3 though. Right down here. This is a better support would be down at 38. So it would probably be better if it had we use 38, but here there's some resistance. There's support now, or I think Jamie called it some word where basically whether support becomes resistance or resistance becomes support. He gave it a name, but now it's support here at this 39 and some change, and we're looking at 38.5 is what we're looking at as our strike. So if there's support at 39 and some change, that means it got some support between there and the 38.5. JAJ says no on General Motors. Let me see. 38.5. The strike is a 79% probability out of the money. I don't know now. I feel like there might be enough support right here in the middle at this 39.28. That might, because this was a pretty good hard hit. It went through it the next time though. So it went through and then maybe now it's support, but it was resistance here and here, and now it's support. Look at this big old gap down here that General Motors has to fill though. This gap from, what's this, January? It's got a big old gap down here that's it you're going to try to get into. The gap now has been filled partially. A few days later, it filled part of the way. But this is a big old buyer's gap right there. That must have been earnings. It was earnings. It jumped and did that on earnings. Okay, let's move on. Delta Airlines. The JAJ said, I don't trust those car makers. Don't trust the car makers. We got 40.5 on 40.5 is right here. At the bottom of that gap. But it hit this resistance up here. It hit it and came on back. We'll see. We can see what it does next. But this right here is resistance. 42, and it's now coming out of that resistance zone or that sell zone, however you call it, at 42 and potentially coming backwards. Let's see what we got for Delta Airlines as far as a probability out of the money on the 40.5 strike. It's got a 78%. I would want to watch. Delta Airlines would be a watch for me because of the fact that it's coming out of the sell zone. And we don't know. I guess there is a support though. There's support right here at 41.09. And there's a gap between current price and the strike price we're talking about. So those two things will provide support. You could, depending on how daring you were being. Let's see what this trade is going to do for money, because again, that makes a difference of whether I would trade it. Is it going to pay right? 40.5, 38.5. It's like it's paying about $15 for a 2 spread. So that's not quite 10%. Not quite 10% to pay 38.5 to 40.5 to pay $15. Nah, I'll pull in $15 on a 1 spread. But especially if it's close like this, I'd be yeah, I don't know about that one. Okay. I'm moving on to Intel. Some of us trade Intel pretty steady. Intel 40, you see, I got a lot more lines on this chart. 41.5. 41.5 is down here. The thick red one down here is 41.5. Right? A lot of support above it. And a gap we're filling, which it's kind of. Did it fill that gap? I'm not sure why I had that written way back there. Probably has filled it. Support is several days of support back here, and it's coming back down though. Intel has been coming down for a minute. It's got the trend. Well, this was a huge gap here. Its earnings, it didn't do so well. It is trying to go back into the gap a little bit over in this zone. $41.5. Let's see. Do we think that one would be successful? Why is Intel falling like this? Does anybody have any insight as to why Intel is coming down? They've been so highly spoken of. 41.5 is the strike, which 41.5 has an 80% probability out of the money. It's been so highly spoken of, but it does seem it's kind of consolidating, really. It's been just consolidating here since it had earnings on the 26th of January. It's really kind of been in a zone right between these two strikes, between 44.63 and 42.45. It's just been hanging out inside. I'm a yes on it, though, as far as the 41.45 goes. 41.5, I'm a yes. Okay, United Airlines. $44 is our strike there. I'm continuing to move steady because we got a pretty good little list here. 44 is the strike. We've got a gap. Who is this? United Airlines. Does anybody trade the airlines regularly? Trade them like as a consistent thing? There's a buyer's gap there, and it stops right at that 44. This buyer's gap is up here. This gap has been done. 41 point, what are we on? UAL, 44. I like that it's at the bottom of the gap. Let me see what the 44 is, a 77% probability out of the money. Are y'all not making comments, or is it not catching the comments? Because it does seem like I haven't had a comment since the car makers. KR for Kroger's. We're here. Gotcha. KR for Kroger's. Kroger's company. Somebody told me there was a Kroger's in this area. I didn't even know there was a Kroger's here. I know we got Publix, but I didn't know there was a Kroger. 46.5 is the strike we're looking at for Kroger. We've got a few gaps that are between current price and where we currently are. We've got this buyer's gap. And I think there's a little bitty one between here and there. That's a little bitty one. Ooh, very small. Right? And then, of course, you got from Thursday to Friday, which is a little bit bigger one. All these are buyer's gaps, which will provide support. And then this monster right here, see all this long wick right here basically lets you know that there was some selling pressure, but it didn't work. So support is at 47 and some change, and current price is at 48. So would 46 point something be a good, what I said, 46.5, would that be a good strike? Let me look at our probability out of the money on 46.5. It's an 87. Yes, on Kroger. UAL has positive news. It's uptrending. Yep. Uptrending. Kroger. LVS. I want to say that's a Vegas thing. Las Vegas Sands. Las Vegas Sands looking at the 53 strike, which is right here, right at the support. Boom, boom. That in itself almost makes it an automatic yes. Not that I trade LVS. Las Vegas Sands 50 to 53 is the trade. Now, again, you can always adjust the buy leg. If you like the sell leg, keep the sell leg, but you can adjust the buy leg. So the 53 is the sell leg, and the buy leg would be the 50. That's going to be at the 10 delta. Remember, the sell leg is at the 30 delta, and the buy leg is going to be at the 10 delta. Now, if you don't know what in the world I'm talking about, as far as buy legs and sell legs, you need to go to my YouTube channel and find one of those credit spread videos to watch. Okay, because if you don't know what I'm talking about with the legs, then that's what that is. But a spread includes two options contracts, a buy option and a sell option. A spread, that's how it gets called a spread. It has two options in it. You have a buy contract and a sell contract. Okay, so this is WDC, Western Digital. Did Western Digital have earnings last week? No, they didn't. They've been back a while. Let me see what. Somehow I feel like they were talked about last week. Chip makers Western Digital and Kioxia to restart merger talks in April. Micron, Seagate, Western Digital poised for upswing driven by NAND price surge. Long-term shareholders of Western Digital shift for Walgreens. Okay. They must be dealing with positive news too. Is Western Digital a chip maker? Are they a chip maker? I see them as a positive at this point. But as Jamie suggested earlier, make sure that you do good charting on your tech things to make sure that you're comfortable with the strikes. 54 is an 81% probability of the out of the money. I'm gonna go with a yes on WDC. We're coming around the mountain. Coming around the mountain. Data storage. Oh, data storage is a good one. That's if you're, asking me, which nobody is, I feel like data storage is going to continue to be a thing because everybody's collecting data and they got to put it somewhere. Western Digital makes hard drives and storage devices for as far as I know. Gotcha. And there must be a little bit of a chip maker. Okay, we got a big old gap here on Uber. This is Uber's our next one. Our strike on Uber is 76. 76 is way up here, but which is right below this support. Just below this support that happened from Wednesday. That's Uber. It does have resistance. Okay, let me change this to red so you'll know which strike we're looking at. We're looking at the 76 strike, but it does have resistance up at 83. I think that's a 3. Yep. Let me see what we got on the probability out of the money on the 76 strike. 75%. And it's got a gap to support it. This is going to be support here before you get there. Oh, how come we have not come into? Well, some of these, I got to go look. Because some of these, maybe I didn't include the bearish looking ones. TTD, the trade desk. The trade desk also has a gap that needs to be it was actually a buyer's gap from earnings. TTD jumped up real nice. And then it fell back off after that. The trade desk. That used to be another one that was talked about pretty steady. Let me see. The strike we're talking about is 78. 78 is here. In the middle of that gap. Let's see now. TTD. In the middle of that gap. What do we say? 78 is our strike. 80% probability out of the money. I'm not a fan of the fact that it's right inside that that the strike price is right inside that gap. But we got a plus minus 3.5 and current price is 81.5. So it's going to come down to about 78, which is right where we are. All righty. Oracle. Oracle strike is 109. There is support a little bit lower, which would definitely give you a little more comfort. There's a buyer's gap. Well, it was a buyer's gap from here to there. That Dow needs to be filled. Another one here. This one shows buyers tried to take it up, but the seller said no. That's why you got an upside down little sword looking thing right there. It hit this 20 period and turned back. Oracle 109. Let's see what we got. 109. I'm not this one's kind of looking kind of iffy. 109 is a pretty good little ways. Well, its current price is 111.95. 109 has a 79% probability out of the money, and it has plus minus 3. Plus minus 3 does put it at 109. But I don't know. The buyers couldn't take it up. It hit this resistance and turned back and closed right at an indecisive. This is one I'd want to see. I'd want to see it do its thing on Monday. JJ says no on Oracle. I definitely would. If I really wanted it, I'd have to watch it because it's also a 5. I mean, the suggested is a 5 spread. Now it's probably good. It may pay pretty decent. Let me see what that trade would look like. Oracle 104 to 109. Change this to 104. You see if it will be worth the 5 spread that you're going to put on it. Not really. It's only going to pay $35. If I would put in, 500 of collateral, I'd want it to pay at least 5, especially if it was kind of looking iffy. I don't know. Okay. Royal Caribbean. I think RCL is Royal Caribbean. Yep, Royal Caribbean also has a big old gap. How do so many of these have these big old gaps? Our strike for Royal Caribbean is 118. 118. Now that comes from right here. You see this is support over here from February the 15th, but I don't like that it's right in the middle of the gap, even though this is a buyer's gap. So buyers are hiding in here. Let's go see what's on the probability out of the money and what the plus minus number looks like. Probability out of the money for 118 is 76%. And we've got a plus minus 5, 4.8. That puts us at 117. But we're looking at 118. Plus minus, we take away 5 from that, or 4.8, that puts us at 117. I'm not too keen on, and then Royal Caribbean is also, it hit this resistance up here and turned back. So I'd want to, that'd be another one. If I was going to trade it, I'd have to take a look. That wouldn't be a jump in on Monday. Yeah, NVIDIA, that big boat that rolls the waters. I get it. It rolls the cruise ship waters too. Last but not least, we got Amazon. Amazon, we got 170 as our strike price. 170 is pretty much right here. Let me make it thicker so we'll know what strike we're talking about. 170 is up here. All this is just gap. It jumped right on up with everything else last week. 170 is right in the middle of it. Current price is 174.99. 6-point spread is too expensive. Yeah, if I was going to do the Royal Caribbean, I definitely would just close. I would close up the spread. I would make it, 118, 117, or 118, 116, depending on what was going to pay the best. A 6-point spread. I don't think I don't do too many 5-point spreads anymore, but yeah, 6-point spread on Royal Caribbean, and it was kind of rent. No, bruh. I might have dropped to 117 and did something like that, but I would definitely move that buy leg up a little higher too. Amazon, 162.5, 170. That's a 7.5 spread. I definitely would shorten that to at least a 5 or a 2.5. But let's see. 170 is the support area. Let's look at Amazon. Now I'm still bullish on Amazon. So I feel like it could hold itself up. But Amazon's also one when I see my money, I'm going to take it. Okay. Let's see. The 170 strike is at an 80% probability out of the money. And we're at a plus or minus 5. So subtract 5 from this, and we are at 4.8, actually plus or minus 4.9, which puts us at 170. Because I'm bullish on Amazon, I would still say yes here. Okay. I want to show you all where these things came from. I want you being like, she don't got this whole list from out of the blue. This is Peakbot. Use peakbot.com. Okay. I use Peakbot as my automated investor, especially if I'm got a lot happening in my world and I don't have the time or the room for really watching a bunch of trades. I just want to let Peakbot pick the entry for me on whichever stock you pick. With Peakbot, you select the stock and then the bot will enter the stock for you. You do need to have Thinkorswim, not TradeStation. Delete that. You need to have Thinkorswim, okay, or Tradier. Tradier is another broker that some people have picked up in order to be able to trade Peakbot. But Tradier, you need to have Thinkorswim or Tradier in order to trade it. Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to teach us how to fish. I won't, because it's not all based on what Arlissa can tell you. I'm glad to be your coach, but I want to coach you on how you go, not necessarily get it out the mud, but get it out the market, as Wall Street Trapper says. I'm not trying to say I came up with that on my own. But this is the watch list. Okay, I went to use Peakbot. Okay, I went to usepeakbot.com and I selected watch list. Okay, you select watch list and then this pops up. It's broken out by stock, right? Right, this stuff moved. Pfizer was at the top of when we did it, wasn't it up higher? Anyway, I moved the stock around based on the price. Okay, so they've got the stock, they've got whether or not the trend is bullish or bearish, right? So you can look at what the trend is if you're looking at that. They talk about these risk levels. These are the lower risk, and then we went through the moderate risk ones. And then I went over here and pulled these strikes. I pulled the strikes right from here. Now, this is a dynamic list, which means when the market opens, these numbers are going to change. They may adjust to see what would be a better 30 delta, because there's pulling from the 30 delta and the 10 delta. So at the time that you get ready to enter the stock, you may want to look and see what's the strike that is being said here, or you can of course look on the option chain and find the 30 delta that way. Right? You don't have to, you can find 30 delta by looking onto the option chain. This part about the calls is if you do end up getting assigned at the end of the week, the bot will also sell covered calls the subsequent week. I don't watch this because generally I exit if mine is at the place where it's going to be exercised, I will close it on Friday, if it Thursday or Friday. But I close my trades beforehand. Once I get the profits I'm looking for, about 80%, I will go ahead and close mine. But we've got moderate risk here. Got a whole bunch of stocks. I picked all these stocks. I don't think I went into the neutrals. Oh, I did. I didn't include Baba and Starbucks. I did some of these though, but not all of them. I think we had Intel though. We did Intel. We didn't do MGM or On. On might have been interesting to do. I did not pull it. I didn't pick any of the bearish stocks and put on the list. I didn't like any of those actually. So I didn't put any of the bearish ones on the list. And if you want it to be a little more, risky, you want to look for a little more in premiums. Generally, these are higher risk. More stocks that are high risk. T triple Q is why I trade T triple Q with peak buy every week. So it's down here on the high risk. It wasn't down here the whole time though. But I trade T triple Q each week. Roblox, Palantir is here. Datadog, Square. Square had earnings last week, right? UPath, DraftKings. Who's in here with DraftKings? Janae? Your DraftKings is on the list. Janae love herself some DraftKings. I'm like, girl, let's find something else. I'm just joking, Jeanette. You can, of course, will trade whatever you like, baby. You are the CEO of your own portfolio. AMD is here. Taiwan Semiconductors is down here, which I like both of those too. I don't like them being on the high risk list, and if you want to go high risk neutral, you got some things here: Shopify, Roku, and then high risk bearish, which to me would be a way off the list because it's a high risk trade and it's shown as bearish. Includes HPQ, which is going to have earnings, Caesars, S triple Q, Carnival Cruise Lines, Walgreens Boots is at the bottom of the list, baby. Baidu has earnings. Paramount, and then Futu. I'm not sure who Futu Holdings even is, Alcoa. But you can scroll, use this list for yourself. That's what I'm saying. I'm going through this to let you know that you can use this list for yourself, right? And if you just wanted to do the lower and the moderates, I told you we went through a whole monster list of all them trades that are not on the high risk list. You don't have to trade high risk in order to make money. What you do want to trade is consistent. The whole point is you want to continue to make money. You don't want to lose the money. All right. If you go over to usepeakbot.com, you can sign up with them for a trial, a 2-week trial with them where you can check things out. You don't have to pay when you first get started. Of course, if you do that, make sure you told them I sent you. Arlissa sent me, Educator2Trader sent me over here to holler at y'all and go try it out. Okay, go over there and try it out. I really enjoy the fact that the bot will enter the trade for me. It always gets me good premiums. And then a couple days later, usually 2 to 3 days, I'm able, because the bot's going to enter when it's moving in the direction you want it to move. So a couple days later, I'm able to buy back. And I'm done with it. I've done T triple Q. I may do a few more this week though, because I see a few more on this good list here. That as we've gone through them, I've seen some interesting ones that I might be, might want to ride with. Anybody got any questions or comments? We've been on about an hour and 47 minutes, a long time today because we went through a lot of good stuff. If you're in my community, you can see, if you go on my Facebook page or you're in my community at all, you can see the list of the trades that I suggested, right? You can see this list of trades. And then you don't have to have this. You can also, like I said, you can go to use Peakbot and look at the watch list for yourself. I took that information from here for this week. That's not usually, Peakbot is usually not where I pulled this list from. I use bar chart to go and do research and find based on what bar chart offers. But today I decided we would do Peakbot and we would check in to see what was our thoughts. I am a influencer for Peakbot. So they're the only ones who have automated trading for us sellers. Other people got automated trading, but it don't include the sellers. All right. Remember this year, we're still going left, LEFT. We're leaning into 1 or 2 strategies. We're educating ourselves. We're focusing on the fundamentals and we're trading with the plan. Not sure if you have seen my latest YouTube video, but I put up a YouTube video on Friday about trading earnings. I put one up about trading earnings. So if you haven't watched that, you should go and see if you can go grab that. Let me find the link and I'll put it into the chat. I did a video on how to trade earnings for sellers, trading earnings. Here it is. I uploaded that video on Friday. If you haven't watched it yet, you can go and turn it on. Of course, you could turn it on, just let it play. Make sure we get some views. I got my first check from YouTube. My son was about as excited as me. He's like, Mom, that's money. It was $107. I was like, okay. Oh, okay. YouTube, thank you for the $107. Appreciate it. My mother used to always say to me that when you find money or you get money, you say, Lord, however you bless me, I'll be satisfied. So, Lord, however you bless me, I will be satisfied. Yeah. So thank you, YouTube, for my $107. Appreciate it. All right. And we're trading with the plan. Don't forget, we have the E2T membership. And if we made it this far, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Okay. Click the notification bell. If you want to send me a super chat, then please go ahead and do so. We've been on here hour 47 and I've suggested hundreds of dollars in money for your trades. My birthday's coming up this Wednesday. My birthday's coming up this Wednesday. And if you decide you want to bless your girl, I put my Cash App into the comments and you can send me a blessing on my 54th birthday. I'll be turning 54 in a few days. That's all this gray hair. At one time I decided I was going to color my hair again. And I was like, I'm not even going to try to fight it no more. If it decides it wants to go all the way through, this is the life I've lived. This is the wisdom I've gained along the way. Yes. So there's that. Okay. So our membership is still open. We do our morning calls every morning. We're on at either 9 or 9:30. 9:30 on Tuesday, 9 o'clock on Tuesday and Thursday, and 9:30 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, there we go. That's the way that goes. We on Tuesday and Thursday, I can do it earlier because I teach at 10 o'clock, and on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we do it at 9:30 because that's when I finish teaching in the morning. So we've got weekly training calls that we have in the membership, and we have a coaching call once a month, the first Saturday of the month. We have a Telegram group. We hang out together in there. We do our trades together and, help people along the way as they need assistance. That's all. It's really a good community. And if you're wanting to trade as a seller, you need to come on and join us. The folks, we're all over here, like-minded people, trading as sellers and making it do what it do. Literally making it do what it do. Okay. Well, sir, I have done as I have been commanded, and yet there is room. Yet there's room. If you want to find any of my courses and any of my trainings, all of that stuff is at Educator2Trader.com. All the stuff I talk about is there. You can find something on the YouTube channel, or you can find the full trainings that are on my website at Educator2Trader.com. If you're not sure what's a perfect strategy for you, if you're still like, I'm not really sure which one, then, go ahead and do the tradingstrategyforyou.com. It's going to help you answer some questions about your money mindset, your other things like that. And you're going to find out some stuff about yourself that's probably going to help you to decide what is good for your trading. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. The computer's like it's freezing up. It's frozen. Okay, there we go. Come on. You're welcome, Franco. You're welcome, Gianfranco. Okay, so I'm going to go and find me some dinner, and I will see you tomorrow morning on the call at 9:30. All right, we'll be there fair, bright and early. I'm going back into the classroom tomorrow. I've been working from home this week, but I'll be going back into the classroom tomorrow morning. So hopefully when I come on at 9:30, I'll still have all the energy I need to have. All right. Hopefully it won't take all the energy out of me and then I won't have any. All right, everybody. We do two things in this community. We stay green and we get this money. I want you to have a really good evening, and I will see you all in the morning. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.